Hey guys!
Hi guys!
Alrighty, so here's a video everybody's wanted for a long time and we've been very excited to make, and we're finally going to do that so we can kind of give you an idea of how to display your pops.
How should you display your pops?
One of the most common questions we get from people is how to display our pops, or where did you get that, or what is that? How, you know,
Right.
Especially the shelves behind us and things. So we're going to try to go over different ways to display them, at least what we do. That includes different display cases, bookshelves, or even glass cases. So let me spin the camera around and go over it sort of firsthand. So up first, you can see these are the baseball bat display cases. These are the ones that you can get at Michael's. They run about 60 bucks, but you can get coupons where they get about half off. Sometimes even 60%. So you're only going to pay about $23 or a little more depending on the sale date. And they constantly have sales, so do not pay full price for those because, like I said, you can get them a lot cheaper. And since you're going to need quite a few maybe, it could get pretty expensive if you're going to spend $60. But like I said, these are originally made for baseball bats. As you can see, a baseball bat would fit right in there. They even have a little knurling in there that holds the bottom of the bat. And then it even comes with little wooden pieces that are inside of it that you just have to slide out that originally held the bat. Other than that, you can fit your pops. They fit in there perfectly. As you can see, it just has a door that opens. And these are the little notch where the sort of shelf was in there that held the bat. But that's it. Glass front, black sort of wood on it. Feels pretty good, feels pretty heavy. Not too bad, although it's not so heavy that it could do damage to your wall. I've had people ask if they can hang it with some of the tack strips and stuff like that. I don't believe so. Hanging it is actually relatively easy. After measuring where both holes and hooks and screws should go, you want to drill a hole in the wall big enough to put your anchor screw in, and that's what this blue thing is. That will be good if you don't have like a stud that can go in the wall to hold it firmly. That will anchor your screw in there. So then screw your screw into the wall, leave enough space to actually hang for that hook to fit inside of it. Then basically you just hang it up. Now make sure it's firm in there. Push down hard on where the screws are. That way you know it's not going to fall off the wall. Test the door out to make sure you have enough space to the one above it, and you're good to go. Alright, so pretty easy. Now this thing will fit anywhere between 12 and 15 pops, depending on the series that you're putting in. Because some pops are bigger than others, as you can tell. Like a Harley, she has a really wide head, so she kind of gets in the way. Kind of a bad thing, honestly. She also leans forward, so that one kind of bothers me, to be honest with you. But so far I've done Ninja Turtles, the 66 Batman, and then animated series. But I have plans for it, maybe horror, maybe even put some sort of backing on the back, like maybe in the animated series do a red backing, which could be really cool. Or in the horror, maybe Pennywise could do like blood splatter on the front of it. There's just so many different things you could do to these. You could even put lights inside of them that would be fairly easy to do. It's a great option to put your pops in. Some people have asked, can you do a whole box in there? The answer is no. It's not deep enough if you go vertically. If you put them horizontally, I think they fit 4. But you gotta smash them kinda, and like, I don't think that's a great idea, to be honest with you. So I really would just recommend them being out of box pops. Now here's a corner that can give you a different idea of how to display some of these baseball bats. They don't always have to be straight across and going down. You can sort of do something special with a corner like this where I have Power Rangers on one side and DC on the other side. But I'm going to introduce you to something else now, and that is a shelf that is specifically designed for pint glasses, for shot glasses, that can also be found at Michael's, that are a great option for any minifigure that you have, be it Dorbs or Loyal Subjects or Mystery Minis or anything like that. So let me move a little closer so you can see what this thing looks like. Alright, again, this is the pint glass display case. Again, this can be found at Michael's as well. Prices are just about the same as what's above it, which is the baseball bat display cases. They're both going to be about $50 to $60 in store, but again, do not pay that. Use the coupon, get 40, 50, 60% off. Either way, they're going to run you about $20, a little over $20. So they're about the same price. You can mix and match, but they're perfect for minifigures. If you have any kind of minifigure, little subjects, Dorbs, Mystery Minis, Kid Robot, really anything that has a small form factor. Now, there are some drawbacks to this one, unfortunately. Number one, those little pieces again only fit shot glasses, so sometimes the Mystery Minis heads are too big, the Dorbs heads are too big. As you can see, the Goldar in there, his head's too big, so I had to turn it sideways so it doesn't fit. That sucks. A lot of the Dorbs that I have don't fit, especially some of the new ones where the heads are really big. I had a Rita in there that I couldn't fit because her head was too big. So that's one drawback. The other drawback is the framing around the door. It comes in, so it actually takes up a lot of visual space, which sucks. As you can see, the Killer Croc down there, he's being cut off. Same thing with Batman on the other edge. And that's basically why I have the Loyal Subjects Power Rangers in the center, because you can see them. It even cuts off the top of their head, as you can see. Real big bummer. But there is a workaround for that. You can basically just take the door off if you don't really care about having a glass door. Let me show you what the door looks like. As you can see, it just opens and has a latch on it. Pretty easy. Unfortunately, when I bought mine, the door has not been put on right, and it's a little crooked, so I actually had to use some tape to hold it together. A definite bummer. I could probably fix it, but I just haven't. Tape seems to work just as good, or you can even install a magnet. Overall though, same exact way to hang those as you hang the baseball bat ones. You just nail it in the wall, basically. I recommend those if you're looking to store your minifigures. It's a perfect way to do it on your wall. And if you do multiple ones without the door, they look great. It's just like little squares all over your wall. You can even sort of offset them too, so it looks kind of checkered. Really good idea. So those are two really good options if you're looking for Pops to sort of be behind plastic or glass.
Yeah, like kind of out of the box.
Yeah, out of the box, displayed in a cool way where it's not just on a shelf, because one problem with Pops is, or even a shelf that you would buy, it's got a lot of space behind it, and a Pop isn't very wide.
And the great thing about these is you can kind of store them more like up off the ground.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a lot of space, you can store it higher around the room and it won't take up as much space.
It'll cost you a lot, really, if you're going to build a whole wall of these. But it's a really cool way to display them, and you don't have a lot of wasted space, a lot of wasted wall space.
But don't forget to use the coupon, because that's really going to help, you know, take the cost down a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, those things start off at like 60 bucks, 50 bucks. Don't ever pay that, because Michaels constantly has sale prices for 40% off or at least more. So typically you're going to spend about $20 to $25 on those. That is the sweet spot. $20 for 15, 16 Pops that go in there. Or a little less, depending on what Pops you have in there, is a great. It's great. It's a great alternative, because you can't. I mean, that's almost a pretty good amount of a shelf.
Oh yeah.
15 Pops is a pretty good amount of a shelf. So yeah, those are two really good options if you're looking for that. Not too hard to put on your wall, and it just gives it a really clean, cool, sophisticated look in your collection. Now, if you're looking for bookshelves and display cases, let's go over those. Probably the most popular option is just a regular bookshelf. These are popular because they're cheap. They fit a lot of different things on them, and they fit perfectly across. Six Pops all the way across with no extra space. As long as you use a Pop or just a regular Pop protector, not the Pop stacks. The hard cases, they don't allow 6 across or 6 on the top. And of course, those bookshelves are adjustable. So if you want to do any amount of Pops, you can. Of course, we have 2 up and down, and then 6 across, so 12. But you could take the next shelf down and then put maybe another 2. You know, depending on what you're looking for. Maybe you want an entire bookshelf full of Pops, you can do that as well. The middle shelf, the one, let's see, this one right here, that one is there for good. You can't get rid of that one. Every bookshelf you get is going to have a middle shelf that you can't get rid of, just because it's in there for basically for structure. So, as you can see, I mean, you can fit other things on there, and you can even stack them on top, which is a good option too. It's not wasted space, because sometimes the wasted space is the problem. So you can put statues on there, you can put Pops, you can really do anything. These I get from Walmart. Now, about every store carries some form of bookshelf. It could be IKEA, it could be Target, it could be anything. These ones right here, they came from Walmart. They were super cheap. They're like less than $25 now. Granted, the build quality is cheap too. Just to be honest with you, they're not the greatest quality. So putting anything other than a Pop, you're probably, you might be gambling. That's why I always feel nervous with the statues on there. But I've done some extra things to make sure that's not going to fall, like attach them to the wall. I think that's a really important thing you got to do. You got to get in the habit of. Now, if you have Pops, you're probably okay. They're not going to get that heavy. But if you're going to do anything else, definitely attach them to the wall. Now, luckily, these bookshelves actually fit my entire wall. There was no extra space. So all 5 of them that I put up went all the way to the edge. So it worked out perfectly for me, because I was able to attach all these bookshelves together and then on the wall. So just to help with a little extra. You still might get some bowing there in the center. As you can tell, it's got a little bit of bowing just because of the cheap quality. Like I said, they're about 20 bucks, so they're not that expensive. If you do want a good bookshelf, they're probably gonna run you about 60 bucks, so kind of keep that in mind. Now, another really good option if you want to do maybe out of the box pops or important pops, something you want to keep behind glass, which always kind of gives it a special look when a pop is behind glass. These are detolf cabinets. This is very famous if you have an IKEA around you. In the collector world, this is sort of the creme de la creme of what you want for hot toys and things like that, mainly because of the price. I mean, they're only $69, so you really can't beat that for a glass shelf. Anybody that's hunted down a glass shelf for their collection knows that $69 is an absolute steal, unless you're looking for something, you know, big. They can run up to $400. So $69 you honestly just can't beat. Now, as you can see, I don't actually have any pops in here, but I wanted to give you an idea of what these things look like from top to bottom. They go about 5 feet, maybe 5.5 feet tall, so they're not super tall. They do give you a little room to stack pops up there if you do want to add some pops. They're pretty sturdy, so as long as you don't have anything super heavy up there, it's not going to matter. But I've seen a lot of people use risers in here, so if you want to use pops out of the box, you can buy some resin risers, some plastic risers, and stack them across, and I think it'll get 3 or 4 steps up to it, which looks fantastic too. I've seen people do doorbs. They've done doorbs that way. They've done pops that way. So again, another great option. And if you're just looking for a glass cased shelf for anything that you have, maybe action figures, as you can see, we have some of our 1/12 figures in there. Anything works, because if you put it behind glass, it looks important. It looks really cool. So those, I would say, are the most standard ones.
Yeah, definitely the most standard, and the one that people ask us the most about.
Yeah, where did you get that? Because I guess a lot of people are buying bookshelves that don't fit the 6 across and pops, and they wanted to know where that is. And again, it's at Walmart, very cheap. They're like 25 bucks. Now you're getting what you pay for.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not like
kind of
great
cheap.
quality. They are cheap, and you really need to connect them to your wall.
Yes.
So make sure you connect them to your wall so they don't tip over or fall apart or anything like that. We have some heavy statues on it, so we kind of have some extra things that are holding it up. But I would prefer not to have those. But when you're in a pinch and you only want to spend 25 bucks or you know, a little less on something, those do it. It's a good alternative, and it fits pops, like we said, across perfectly. Right. So it's a good alternative. And again, with the detolf cabinets, those are only like $60, $70 at IKEA. Now, not everybody has an IKEA accessible. Yes. We just got one not long ago, so we're lucky.
Thank goodness.
They don't fit a lot of pops, but if you get risers, they will. You can get a lot of different layers of pops that I've seen people do. We don't do it that way, because those risers are actually kind of expensive. Yeah,
we mainly use our detolfs for statues, but the pops in them, they look great. So
yeah, figures really. Right now we're just doing figures and a little bit of statues because they're light and we're scared to break the glass on them. Yeah. But it is an option for you if you're looking for something clean, because I have seen some where people put them in detolf cabinets that have lights and everything where it looks really cool. Sharp. Yeah, so that's another option for you. One more thing that I've been asked to, this really doesn't have anything to do with pops because there's very few pops that you can put in them. This is a 6-sectioned shelf. So you have 6 sectors that you can put anything inside of them. As you can see, I do have pops in them. I have a 2-stack pop and then the giant pop there. So you can do, you know, little pops here and there, statues, books, anything like that. And then it leaves you with a pretty good top that you can do whatever you want on them too. Stack pops, stack statues. Even carry the baseball bat displays all the way down to it. That could look really good as well. So again, more options. Now this one's a little pricey. This is 60 bucks. That seems a little high to me. They're pretty sturdy though. And I find these at Big Lots. So Big Lots carries these if you have a Big Lots in town. Most people do. So that could be an easy store to find if you don't have an IKEA or anything like that. I don't believe there's coupons for that store. So you're sort of stuck with that price, which is a pretty big bummer. But again, it kind of gives your room a little pizzazz. And finally, a wall shelf. Now this is a very nice wall shelf because all the hardware is actually built into the shelf. That way you don't see anything. So that's always important when you have those on the wall. It gives it sort of a modern look. Just a very nice looking shelf. Now there are some drawbacks to this. First thing is it doesn't hold a lot of weight. Now if you're holding pops or like I am on this shelf, the X-ray figures, they're very light, so you're not going to have any issue. You're not going to have any warping or bowing or anything like that. But if you want to put anything heavy on it, I can't recommend it. It's definitely not a statue. For some reason, they just don't carry a lot of weight. Not that they're built poorly. It's just I guess they're built poorly. I don't know. But for pops or for anything light, another great alternative. They do look really, really good. How thick the actual frame of it is and how everything's built inside of it. They look fantastic, really. Now, if you're looking for this is called a lac shelf at IKEA. Again, this is a pretty famous shelf if you shop at IKEA. Everybody knows a lac shelf. They come in various sizes, very small to very large. Of course, with that, different prices. I think on this one, I only paid, I want to say 15 bucks for it, and then $5 for the hardware, because sometimes when you buy something, you have to buy the hardware at IKEA as well. But 20 bucks for each shelf is not bad at all. But again, they just don't hold a lot of weight. They're basically cardboard on the inside of them, so sort of keep that in mind. So those are really kind of the main options. I mean, you could build your own shelving too. That's always an option.
I mean, you could always get creative and be like, I'm gonna make this work for myself.
I mean, I've seen people be very creative in the pop game, where they make a giant pop box and put shelves across it, or make a bat logo, or I've seen a lot of people do a lot of things for them, and they all look really great. One that I saw the other day that I thought would be a really cool pop display is somebody made a shelf that did the old school Star Wars figures. And they color coordinated it like the packaging was back in the day. And it just had figures all across it. What if somebody did that with Star Wars Pops out of the box?
That'd be really cool, actually.
It'd be a sick way to display your Star Wars Pops.
I think I'd like to see that.
Yeah, so there are many ways that you could do this. Being creative, of course, is always fun when you do that. But if you just want to buy something, put it on your wall and call it a day, I would definitely say the baseball bats are the ones that I recommend the most if you want a clean, cool, sophisticated look, like I said. Again, they're not that expensive. They're not that hard to put up either. Overall, they look great on the wall. That's what I'll say. And you can be creative with those too, putting lights in them, doing different things, putting backdrops in them too. So sort of keep that in mind. So there you go, guys. Let us know in the comments, what do you do to display your Pops? Is there something that you do that we don't do? Maybe we want to know. Maybe the community wants to know.
Do you have a better way of displaying?
Do you have a better way of displaying?
Let us in on this secret.
Yes, let us know your secrets. Again, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.